Brian Twining, we did it. We had ourselves one hell of a week. We will recap all that was Texas. We'll also get into Talladega. We'll go over our general strategy for super speedway races.
It's going to
We'll,
be interesting
we'll
this week,
talk a
especially.
little kind of thought process in terms of some of the playoff drivers, some of the guys that may have punched their ticket last week, drivers that we think could be in the mix just to get through and not really stress, and figure out if there is any value. Obviously, the top tens and that kind of stuff at many books has been absolutely crushed, but we will see if we can find some value for y'all on today's Angle of Pursuit.
Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack.
Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
Brian Twining, there's been a lot of weeks where that board, we think we got it. And boy, I don't know if we're cross-eyed or if there's mirrors going into effect, but we sure don't got it. This week, however, Texas. A track that Chris Wormy had no idea about, a track that even going into Sunday, I wasn't like enamored with my card, but I did feel good about where we were at. We fucking crushed it. And sorry for those, sorry for the language there, but that's what we did. We had ourselves one hell of a week. We were seeing it good and we took advantage of it. So let me.
And I'm really sad that I didn't go a full unit on the Byron 14-1 number, because we've talked about him so many times before that, like, when he has a number that long, you almost have to bet it because his car is so good and he's always in the right place at the right time when it matters most. And he took advantage of that again.
Yeah. It's a 1.5 mile track. It's William Byron. It's where he's been dominant all year long.
Yep.
Phoenix, Vegas. It was amazing. So we'll recap DraftKings first. Kyle Larson was the best car on Sunday. I feel bad for the guy because he was dominant. He had his 4-second lead. Couple restarts later, crashing out of the race, finishing 31st.
And before we move off of Larson, this only supports the narrative that Kyle Larson is not good under pressure. I mean,
it's very interesting that when he's dominant and he's the guy, he gets a 5-second lead, he's fine. But when those restarts start piling up and he has to keep winning those, he seems to run into issues. And we called it out. I said it's going to be Vegas over again. And sure enough, late caution, Byron to the front, Byron to the lead, Byron to victory. So obviously having William Byron, that worked out pretty well. Larson was fine, even though he finished 31st just because he was so dominant. Your boy Bubba was great. Arguably one of the better cars all day. Even had some issues where he kind of went backwards and was able to keep going to the front, keep getting up there. Shouts to him. If Ty Gibbs has a better day, obviously we could have done much, much better, but was looking good until he wasn't. Justin Haley almost top 10'd it, so that's nice to see. And Zane Smith, 33-24. I'll take that every single day of the week. So overall, fine. 217th place out of 2K. Obviously, if we get a 0 out of Gibbs, we're up here 260. And that, top 100 maybe. And then if we get positive points, obviously depends on ownership there, but he was only 14%. So it's not like a lot of the field had him. But let's go over and look at the beautiful, beautiful bet tracker. Look at all that green. William Byron, 8-1, cash it. William Byron, 14-1, cash it. Brad Keselowski, top 10. Brad Keselowski could have been the top 4. I think he was top 5. Obviously one spot behind Kevin Harvick, who looked like trash throughout practice, trash throughout qualifying, finds a way to get there. Under 3.5 Fords, that moved to 2.5. And if you bet it at 2.5, you did not cash. But if you got it at 3.5, cash that. Elliott.
I should have rode that one with you after just like going into the weekend, anticipating the Fords to struggle.
Yeah, it wasn't. Although I think they did in a lot better than I think most people, especially like Keselowski was good, Harvick was good, Buescher was good.
And then Ryan Blaney was also really good as well until, I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch the race. I had some other things I had to take care of, but I was keeping track of it on my phone. And I mean, he was running inside the top 5 for a lot of the day, and he was looking like he was going to hit top Ford. But
the carnage at the end kind of set up a lot of stuff. So obviously that definitely helped. And then Elliott over Blaney, plus money. Thank you. Dinger did not top 10. Dinger did not beat Suarez. That's fine. Had a week up 20 something units, so that it felt good. It's been a cold summer, and to get back on a heater felt good. Obviously, you had some Byron as well at 14. That number was just too damn good.
Think about that. That was my only outright of the week.
Impressive. I think that was my only outright too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Look at that. We saw the board, and it's easy to say like celebrate now, but Byron is one of those guys that if you think there's going to be restarts and other stuff, he's going to put himself in place. Even the initial restart, he ended up dropping back to 4th or 5th, and I'm like, oh, it's not going to be his day. And then we got a second restart. He got around. He like dropped to 3rd. He got around Chastain, I believe, and got out. And when he got out to the by himself, he was gone. It was it was like a 1/10 of a second, half a second, full second, couple seconds, and I was just praying, don't anybody get in. Bell and Bubba, I believe, were kind of racing each other for 2-3. And I was like, oh god, we're gonna get a freaking caution, and this is all gonna be for naught. But he got around, he got to the where he needed to be. We cashed that ticket. Obviously, Bubba top Toyota 6-1, beautiful bet.
I was gonna say, and that it felt a lot better than hitting him 14-1 or whatever. I think he was like 14 or 15-1 in the outright market, and basically for the exact reason of how the race played out. I mean, Bubba had a tremendous day, but when push comes to shove, like I'm gonna take William Byron in the final 6 laps, pretty much every single race, especially at a 1.5 mile over Bubba.
And did the 6-1 come after? Because I know when he pulled it, it was still a really good price. It was plus 550, 6-1 in a lot of places.
Yeah, because I think Denny, Truex, and Bell all had better outright numbers than Bubba, and also Reddick, I believe.
Yep. And then obviously going Bubba over Bell, a couple spots, but that's all you needed. And then Bubba over Buescher, that was a nice one too. So yeah, we had ourselves a little week, Brian. We had ourselves a little week. You were up like 15 units. I was up 25 units.
And it's a good thing because we're going to the absolute money burner of Talladega.
Yeah. So I'll throw up the odds as we shift our focus to Talladega. But shouts to William Byron. I believe that's my 3rd outright on him. I know I hit him in Vegas. I don't think we got on board at Phoenix, and then maybe the road course. I'm trying to remember. He's won
go back and just look like how many times we hit a Byron outright.
4 or 5 wins this year. Has been a hell of a season. Okay, so as we shift our focus to talk Talladega, before we get into specifics and all that stuff, let's just talk general philosophy, because in previous years, even in previous races, we've gotten really excited and we've sprayed the board on a bunch of minus EV bets, and then we end up having to dig ourselves out of the hole, especially with the 500, because it's so damn fun and we're so excited to have a real race and we want to bet everything and all that good stuff. But with super speedways, you want to be cautious. You want to avoid, I think, going heavy on head-to-heads, placings. You can go find yourself a few lottery tickets. Maybe if you bet $100 on a normal unit or $20 on a normal unit, divide that up into 4, 5, 6 bets and just spray the board in that like 15 to 20, 15 to 30 range. There's a lot of like Brad, there's nobody inside 10 to 1, and that's almost something we see like a handful of names. So that's something to think about. The other thing I wanted to pick your brain about, Brian, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, guys that are kind of locked in. Guys like maybe someone like Bubba, who this is a great spot for him, but obviously had a great result last week. Doesn't necessarily need the win. A Kyle Larson, who is on the right side right now, but traditionally doesn't do very well. I guess for the playoff drivers and kind of your expectations there, how are you viewing some of these guys? Like, if they're locked in, are you been like, okay, I'm not like they're going to be safer, or do you think they're going to go balls to the wall and not really care because it doesn't matter at the end of the day?
So this is unlike years past, I think like Bubba for me in the outright market is an avoid. And my reasoning behind that is because his ultimate goal this weekend at Talladega is to not wreck out. He can get a win would lock him into the next round of the playoffs, but at what risk of wrecking for there? Because he's only a few points behind Larson, who is notorious for not being that good at super speedways. He has been better of late, but if Bubba can just get stage points and, pile those up early, as opposed to in Texas where he made a couple mistakes early, like he gave up the lead in stage one. I saw those are going to be extremely important for him. And I think you're going to see both him and Kyle Larson kind of play it safe early on because they're they're the two guys battling there. And also too, somebody for Bubba, like when we go to the Charlotte Roval, yes, the Rovals are Bubba's best road courses, but he's not good at those tracks. Like he's going to have a hard time racing against Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson, who are both right near him in the playoff standings right now. So he's going to have to pile up these playoff points. So Bubba, for me in the outright market, I'm probably not betting it, even though I love betting him at super speedways. Now, guys like Denny and William Byron, they're more intriguing because who cares if they wreck out? They've already solidified their spot in the next round, and they're both so high up in the standings. I believe they're first and second at the moment.
Currently,
they have almost nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, so guys like Byron, guys like Hamlin can be a lot safer early, and then put themselves in a position to avoid the nonsense. Like if it's getting loose and people are getting reckless early, cruise to the back, hang out back there. Let the nonsense happen in front of you. Stay on the track. At the end of the day, in stage 3, that's when you push. That's when you figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you on Bubba. I think, we'll have to look at stage 1, stage 2 winners because I think someone like Bubba makes a lot of sense. I think both the RFK guys make a lot of sense there too. Just stack up those stage points. Don't really worry about, necessarily winning the race early. Just put yourself in position to get some points, keep building that total, and know you can advance to the round of 4. Well, I guess the next, the round of 8 and then the round of 4. So, I think it's going to be an interesting discussion. I think there's a lot of names to get into, but let's run through some of the names. Let's talk about where our heads are at. Obviously, like I mentioned, it's an interesting race.
So real quick, before we even move down this list here, I'm just looking at a few of like our betting sheets from previous races. And at the Daytona 500 this year, I had Chris Buescher at 40-1. Look at his current price at Talladega.
Yeah, I mean, he's top 3.
That's
I did make a little model for myself. I included Dega 1, Both Daytonas, both Atlanta races. Obviously, Atlanta is a lot less of a factor, but I do consider it because does have that speedway vibes. It's
Let me
almost
also make you aware, neither of us have hit an outright at Daytona or Talladega this year, so
that we're due. It's time to happen.
I guess you could say
We're about to Christopher Bell our way through these playoffs and get super duper hot.
No.
But yeah, so it's full of Fords, the top 10. There's two Toyotas in the top 10, and the rest are Fords, which is pretty wild. So that will give us some thoughts as maybe we look at head-to-heads. I was looking at potentially a Ford to win the race, but the numbers weren't that good. So, and I obviously, as we look at the outright market, we're going to see a lot of Fords. We're obviously going to see some Hendrick. So let's talk through it. So we got Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, Christopher
Blaney
Buescher.
is going on the card, by the way.
He's really tempting. Crushed Dega 1. Was good at Atlanta. Was fine at Daytona. He's number 1 in my model. And there's Blaney, and then there's a gap, and then it's Logano and Almirola, and then there's a gap, and then it's like Buescher and some other guys that we're gonna get into, Keselowski. Yeah. Blaney is really, really tempting. 12-1. I don't, we hate betting favorites generally, and at super speedways it's even grosser, but Ryan Blaney is a very compelling target. I want to mention, our guy iFantasy Race, tons of amazing nuggets over on Twitter. So William Byron at Talladega in recent races, 7th in 2023, 22nd in 2022. He was 12th in the second race and 15th in the first race. But potentially one of the better cars, 4th after stage 1, won stage 2, had an average running position of 4.9, led 38 laps, and had the 3rd best driver rating. But in the 5th, in the 5th at the start of the final lap, he was 5th at the start of the final lap, but got shuffled back since they ended up finishing. So that's the other thing is, like, madness you could have the best guy all day. Yeah. And madness could ensue, and he could end up in the mid pack or worse. So something to think about there. So he is interesting. Obviously, overall isn't incredible, but there's a lot there to like. Oh, maybe there's more underlying. It's just hard to. He's not priced kind of in that next tier. He's priced with the upper elites, and that's hard to get to. Yeah. It's also weird to figure out if we want to bet non-playoff drivers. I think if you're going to do it, a super speedway is definitely a much better place to take advantage of something like that. Chase Elliott hasn't won all year.
This is the track where he's been good at too. So. Yeah.
He's been pretty incredible. Obviously didn't. Which race did he miss this year? I was just looking at it.
Well, I was just gonna say too, he won this race last year.
Yeah, he missed the Atlanta spring race, but he was good in Dega 1. Obviously really good at Daytona in the fall. And he's getting better as the season comes to a close. He's going to be somebody, and obviously it's Chase Elliott, so it's going to be hard to get value or anything, but exactly. He's going to be somebody in 2024 that I'm probably going to be looking to bet more weeks. Like, I think he's going to have a revenge year and kind of figure stuff out. Logano, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin. Let's do this. Let's stop at Kyle Busch. And we'll go from Keselowski down to Kyle Busch. Let's do a draft. We each pick 3 drivers. And kind of we'll go through a few names, obviously, and you're not forced to put any of these guys actually on your card, but in terms of most appealing, let's just draft that way. And I'll give you the T so you can get you could take Ryan Blaney, because I figured you would. I think that's a phenomenal pick. I think he makes sense, and if we're gonna bet a favorite, he makes sense, especially at double figures. I think I'm going to go Denny Hamlin. And I know he's a little bit down and he's not traditionally
I do like that though, because of
that,
there is no risk for him to go for it all.
And also in the fall Dega races, he's a different driver for some reason. I don't know if it's the weather or what. But over the last 7 races, he has a 4.1 average finish. So he's a guy who is right there. And we talked about him. If he can put his car in position to win the race, and he's there at the end, I trust him to find a way to get to victory lane. So you can get him as long as 16-1 at FanDuel, and that's actually going to go on the card as a real bet.
Yeah, the only thing I will say about Denny Hamlin is going against my analysis of Bubba Wallace playing it safe. This will be a situation that if we're coming down to the final laps and it's Bubba or Tyler Reddick up front and Denny is battling for the win, he is going to push them to a victory.
Oh yeah.
That is going to happen. You can bet your entire paycheck that he will do everything in his power to push one of his cars to victory lane at Talladega if he has the opportunity.
100%. And that's part of the risk. But obviously, I think if you can get 12, I got 12-1. I don't love it as much, but I think 14 or 16 is really compelling. I think he is he's
super good at Daytona too. Yeah. So.
And he's having an amazing, especially towards the second half. Yeah. He's just been money. He's been finding ways to get to wins and getting there. So you're next for your second pick. Who you want?
I'm actually going to take Chase Elliott. Like you said, because he's been better of late, and this is the ultimate crapshoot race. He won this race last year. His car has looked a lot better of late. He's really good at super speedways. He's still, racing for the Owners' Championship, so he still has something to go for here in terms of trying to get a victory. And 16-1. I know it's a super speedway, but we keep saying this week in and week out on Elliott. We don't get these types of numbers ever on him. And, I kind of want to take advantage of that while it's here. So if I was going to bet another guy in this range, I'd probably go Elliott.
Yeah. I like that call. And I think this is one of the weeks to take advantage of it. I'm going to go with Christopher Buescher. When you left him for me, I couldn't help myself. Incredible driver. Obviously, RFK boys have been dominant factors on super speedways in general. He won the fall Daytona race. He finished third in a Dega race that he wasn't even really that great in. Started 10th, got to third, was able to keep his car there. I also like looking at the Cup standings. I don't want to say he's comfortable, but he's 22 points to the good.
Yeah.
I think
an early wreck for him too.
Yeah. I think he would be in position to keep it safe for a long time and then really put it if he needs to. And we've seen him, especially at speedways, especially at fast tracks, Michigan, Daytona. He's ready to push his car at the end if that's what it requires. Obviously would be a huge win for him and get him into the round of 8. So something he would definitely want to do. So,
and RFK has been great at super speedways.
Yeah. They've been dominant all year long, and there's no reason to think that changes this week. All right. Third and final pick. Go for it.
And this is to all the way to Kyle Busch.
You can go, stop at Kyle Busch. We're not going to do the 20-1. So anyone inside 20-1 pretty much.
I mean, I'm going to go with the same type of narrative here. I never do this, but Joey Logano.
Damn it.
He's not racing for anything other than just race wins.
No. And I'm a little concerned just because Penske garage. They, it's really just Blaney or bust. But yeah, no, I think Logano is absolutely a great pick. Dominant at Atlanta, dominant at Daytona, even in the fall race.
Yeah. I'm not betting it personally, but I do think like of the top group, like he's got a great chance here.
No, you're 100% correct. Where is Logano? I was just looking at it.
Especially when you look at the fact like Fords have been strong at Talladega
Dominant.
and super speedways as a whole.
Dominant. Yeah. Started 8th. Ended up finishing 30th. Led 3 laps though, so obviously was there at one point. Yeah, like I said, 8 of the top, I think 10 are all Fords, and the only 2 that aren't are 2 Toyotas. Which one of the names, Denny Hamlin, isn't that shocking. The other name, however, and we'll get to him in a second, but old Martin Truex. It's been a different story for him in 2023 on the speedways. Not traditionally someone who excels, but he's been quiet coming down the stretch, but he was somebody who was doing really, really well. And it's just been really consistent. He might be a better like matchup bet. But I think it's interesting. I was pretty surprised to see him up there.
Well, I think though too, like because you have Denny on an outright, I do think that there's something in terms of going with a teammate because Denny's already locked in. Similar to what I say about like if he's got a chance to push Bubba or Tyler Reddick to a victory, if those guys aren't up there and it's Martin Truex Jr. in front of him, team orders, he's probably going to push Martin Truex Jr. in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted Logano. Obviously, that's not a pick. So it's really between Bubba and Byron for me. And like you mentioned, a little 23-11 bump from the team owner behind you. Bubba's been really, really good here. I'm gonna go with old Bubba to get it done, and push it to the win. So I have Bubba, Busher, and Denny. You have Chase, Logano, and Blaney. All right, I'm gonna write those. I'm gonna write those down, and we'll do like a combined. We'll do a combined total and see whoever gets the most. Whoever has the lowest total in terms of finishing position. So Bubba, Denny, and Busher.
Are we gonna cancel the bets if they wreck?
No. This is just for shits and giggles. And plus you took Logano, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah,
well, you do have the 2 Penskes. And then Chase. Okay, so of the names that we mentioned, any of those actually going on your card in terms of outrights?
No.
Okay.
Just Blaney. Just Blaney.
Denny's on there. Your Chase point is really compelling, and I think is something that I'm considering, but I haven't pulled the trigger on yet. Logano's kind of in that same bucket. I think those are and Denny. No, I have Denny on there 16. Logano and Chase are the 2, which are both outside. All right, now we get into some more fun. Let's throw some wild cards, throw some lottery tickets. Kyle Larson traditionally doesn't do super well on speedways, but priced at 20-1 for a driver as talented as him is really
as we were talking about just going over the draft. If we would have included the entirety of the board, Larson would have been one of my 3. I just think that we've seen him improve. It's just, I mean, yeah, we led into the show that he chokes, when it matters most, but he's been running near the front at these super speedway races fairly late, considering how bad we think he is at super speedways. And I mean, he's in a position where why not go for a win here? We're going to a road course next week where he's really good at road courses. So
yeah, Yeah, I think that's a great point. If you want to get gross, the two names, and I'm going to add one of them for sure. Eric Almirola and Austin Cindric are the two names from this range that I cannot believe I'm excited about, but here we are. Almirola was great at Dega, was awesome at Daytona, both of them. And then kind of not so great at Atlanta, but that one's not as important. So, Almirola, I know SHR has been crap, but there is a few spots where they've popped. And Almirola is just somebody that knows how to get it done. He's kind of in that, Stenhouse crew. And honestly, Austin Cindric's probably the same way. And Caesar's giving me a 30. I'm gonna put that on the card. Like, I don't. Austin Cindric in the Penske garage with two guys that we absolutely love in terms of Blaney and Logano. I'm getting 30-1. I think he could absolutely be incredible. And he is 1, 2, 3, but he is fifth for me in my model with his results at Dega, Daytona, and Atlanta. So 30-1 for a guy who, he's not great. He's been really underwhelming, I think, but is good at road courses and is good at speedways, and getting him at 30-1. Thank you, Caesars. I will definitely grab a piece of that.
I used to be optimistic about Cindric at these super speedways, but he's burned me too many times now. Whether he wins as we saw Daytona 500 last year and crushed my Ryan Blaney bet, or I bet him and he absolutely, screws the pooch somehow. I cannot get there with Cindric.
And I don't blame you at all. Old Spin House is down here. What about Ross Chastain? We talked about him last week. You're like, Kyle, what are you talking about? I said, he might be good. He was fast. He looks good. And maybe he's somebody you want to wait on, but 20-1 is a decent price.
The only thing I worry about with Ross Chastain.
Are you going to Lee Corso me?
Yeah. Not so fast, my friend. Ross Chastain has made so many enemies in the garage. Who's going to want to push him? And realistically, I think that's that's a real problem for him in that, Hendrick Camp, they don't like him. JGR, we've seen him get into it with Christopher Bell and Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin. So, who's going to want to help Ross Chastain when push comes to shove late? I don't think there's anybody there. So I do like him maybe in a couple of matchups if you could find some decent value, but I can't get to him on an outright because he's not going to have friends at the end of a race.
If we think if we wait, because obviously his car has been give me something in practice. I don't even think we have practice this week either. I remember Derek saying something about it, but if he goes out and qualifies, okay. Even if he puts it on pole, what's the lowest he's going to drop to? 12, 15?
Yeah, probably not even that. He's probably going to go to 16 because
16 or 18 maybe.
Yeah, because starting position in these races means diddly squat.
So maybe he's somebody that if you like him and you don't love him, you kind of hang out and see what he does and then jump in if it goes to 16 or 18.
I wouldn't fault anybody betting anybody 20-1 at a super speedway. I feel like this is a good range to, play some craps on some guys and, transitioning from Chastain, the guy right below him, he's getting added to my card at 22-1. Christopher Bell.
Ring the bell.
In terms of just overall speed, Christopher Bell has been fast as shit every single week. And I can't help but not think that that's going to translate to Talladega as well. And if he's in there with the Toyotas, same breath as Martin Truex Jr., he is not guaranteed a spot into the round of 8, regardless of where he is currently in the standings. And, if you got Denny Hamlin up there, maybe Hamlin helps push him. Bubba is tremendous. And if Bubba is just playing for points, maybe he's pushing him, and in this range, these are good, small, wagers on them to potentially win. And how many times over the last 2 months have we bet Christopher Bell at numbers way shorter than this? Not us, not personally, but a lot of people because his car is so good.
Yeah. You could literally take $100, bet 10 different drivers, have your little pool, And if you stay, anywhere, like even some of the favorites, you'll at least get your money back. But you could like get into the 20s and 30s and have a chance at doubling or tripling your money with a lot of these guys. So I think Bell makes sense to kind of do that. Eric Jones, always like him at speedways, always like him to go fast. Been much better kind of down the stretch, which is good to see. I was a little worried with Legacy Motor Club and kind of the direction they were heading. It seemed like their cars were literally falling apart on the track, but I think he's been stronger of late, so I don't hate him. Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex is the guy that I'm kind of interested in, but I feel like he's been good. I don't know that I think he's been great, but 30-1 is a nice price. And honestly, we talked to SHR, Chase Briscoe, 30-1 was fourth in this race in the spring. I mean, SHR sucks, but SHR at flat tracks and SHR at speedways has been all right. And, was good in the Daytona Fall race. I don't hate it. Those two guys are both compelling, but I haven't added either one.
Yeah, I can't get there with Truex. And then, because even the extra like full 10 points, I would rather bet Bell just because he's a better super speedway racer. And I think his car overall is probably a little bit better, which means it kind of really doesn't mean much here, but still.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Okay, anybody like if you want to like get some real wild cards, like obviously we're looking at 30s. Austin Dillon at 35, Ryan Preece, Carson Hocevar, who's just been a rocket.
What's interesting to note is like
Joy.
even though the super speedways are predicated on pack racing and all that stuff, the back marker cars and kind of the mid-tier teams, they don't seem to have the pace to lead a pack. Mm-hmm. So like we saw it, I believe it was the Daytona 500 when AJ Allmendinger was up front and his car just seemingly didn't have the same horsepower, although they do, to stay up front and, keep everybody at bay behind him. Everybody was just able to boat race him, whether that was a 2-car or 3-car train. Like, I just don't think those guys have the equipment to win this unless they get lucky.
Okay, so as we sit in terms of outrights, you have Blaney and Bell. I have Hamlin and Cindric. Are you going to add anyone else to the outright card as we sit here Wednesday night?
All right, I'm going to do it. I got to do the Kyle Larson number.
Yeah. All right, if you're going to add one more, I'll do it. Martin Truex, welcome to the card. I think I'm higher on Truex than the consensus, I think.
It's not a bad number.
We'll see if that comes back to bite me or not. Once again, like Brian's even doing more than I am. I'm adding a quarter of a unit on all three of these guys. Brian's doing like half. He added a full unit on Blaney. Blaney is the guy that I probably should be adding, but
yeah, but at 12-1, normally I would not bet this, but I think because of he's not the strongest road racer and he's so good at super speedways, I think he is going for victory. Yeah.
All right, let's look at what else we can do. Future bets. So we looked at outrights. I think this is a good week. We were talking a little bit pre-show. Obviously, the books, especially the major books, are really smashing top 10s, top 5s. But I think if you like somebody to do really well and betting a top 10 isn't going to pay out like it should. But like Austin Cindric 4-1 is going on the card at top 5. It's terrifying. It's Austin Cindric, but I expect him to run a good race. And if I want that race, I want to get paid out on it. So let me see. Is that the best number I can get? I bet BetRivers has a better number for me. Where are we at? Austin.
So hold on. So if you like him to be top 5,
you, my friend.
top Ford 12-1.
Yes, there we
Just
go.
bet that.
Yes.
Like, why even hit the top 5 number when you're only getting 4-1 on your
because I feel like he could be 3rd or 4th or even 5th among Fords. That's my concern. With Toyotas and Chevys, I'm a little more open to the idea of just firing on it. But like, I think Blaney could win this. Obviously Buescher and Keselowski could win this. Logano could win this. Almirola could win this. I mean, it might be smarter for me. You know what? Honestly, this is what I'm going to do. And I appreciate you giving me this shout. So I'm going to go Austin Cindric top Ford. And I am going to go Eric Almirola top Ford at, what is that? 12 and 8-1 respectively.
Yeah, see, I like those a lot better because you open up the possibility that they finish 4th or even 7th. I mean, I doubt that's going to happen. There's going to be a Ford in the top 5, but
yeah. It just I guess if Hamlin wins and maybe the Hendrick boys are up there, then like 3rd or 4th or 5th is in play, and that could make sense. And if we get some nonsense at the end, like this is a great spot for it. So if I'm gonna bet it, I want to get paid out. So Austin Cindric top Ford at 12-1 and Eric Almirola top Ford 8-1. Welcome to the card.
You're a wild man.
Yeah, I mean these are fractions of a unit, so I'm not getting crazy.
Ooh, baby.
Like I don't even hate Buescher or Keselowski. I think they're priced well enough for what you could get.
Yeah.
Let's see, top Toyota. So Bubba is your favorite among Toyotas, which is pretty wild. I think a good market for him for somebody that we don't expect to necessarily push super duper hard, especially early. Maybe he kind of is content with the top 5 finish, and maybe that's good enough. Hamlin right there. Christopher Bell 4.5, Truex 5.5. I think both.
Yeah, but the thing is none of these numbers pay.
Right. And that's what I think, because the Fords like are so highly thought of that they have to aggressively shop them. Let's see. The Chevys, William Byron 5.5, Chase Elliott 5.5, Larson 7.
You can get Larson at 850 over at BetRivers.
What's Chastain's number over there?
9-1.
See, Chastain at 9-1 is kind of interesting too.
Yeah, but there's so many Chevys. Like that's the man. Look, if I had endless pockets, I'd probably be like throwing money at the wall at these, but I've learned my lesson already this year. I cannot.
So the over under for Chevys in the top 10 is 4.5, and the under is getting hit. So that means we're expecting 4 Chevys in the top 10.
I'm not touching that market this week.
The Fords over 4.5 are really tempting, but if it was minus like 115, 120, I'd probably hit it. Minus 140s. Oh, 1.5?
Whoa, that's getting like.
Yeah,
you got to think though. There's only six Toyotas.
No, that's true.
And say 3 of them are involved in the first wreck.
Yeah, then
like
you're just
effed.
like, yeah. I don't think those markets make sense this week.
Look at this. They're really baiting people. Race to go to overtime. Look at the number. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ooh, we got qualifying numbers.
Oh yeah, let's look at that.
Yeah, let's check that out.
Fastest qualifier. All right. So Hamlin 9-1, Blaney 9.5, Keselowski, Almirola 10-1. I was just looking at it. So last year it was Hamlin, Almirola, Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Blaney were your top 5 at the. This is the spring race, by the way. Let me go back. So Chase Briscoe 10-1, Buescher 12, Bubba 12. Like, you can get some decent numbers on a lot of these guys.
Man,
Is
Chevy's were
anyone
garbage. I'm
tickling
gonna
your
add
fancy?
Christopher Bell.
Okay.
16.
2022, Christopher Bell put it on pole in the fall race.
He has poles in 2 of the last 3 Talladega races.
Larson was second, Hamlin was third, Almirola was fourth, Chase Briscoe was fifth. Chase Briscoe at 10-1. Chastain at 22. I know he doesn't traditionally qualify well, but when he qualifies, Truex 25, Bowman 25, Cindric 30. Grabbing a piece of Cindric to put it on the pole. What is he?
Yeah, Denny's been really fast. What is the Gibbs number?
20.
I'm gonna bet it again. Why not? These are quarter unit plays, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Just for some fun.
Pad those pockets prior to the race. That's always feels nice. LaJoy 50, Hocevar 50.
Not a chance. Like I said, those cars.
Austin Dillon 35.
Who?
Austin Dillon 35.
No, I don't think he's got the speed. I do think Michael McDowell, if you're going to talk about a back of the pack Ford, I think McDowell is interesting.
Yeah, and you're also hoping that they set the car up for qualifying and not the car up for race day. But without practice, maybe they're a little more aggressive. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to put any on. There's some interesting ones.
You're not going to bet any pole bets?
No, it's like, because like, let's just go through really quick. So like, Hamlin's interesting, but 9-1 at a place where shit gets crazy. Blaney 9.5. Briscoe at 10 is interesting, but for a driver like Chase Briscoe, I probably want Almirola at 10. Fuck it. SHR, welcome to the card. Almirola 10-1.
Almirola, huh? You're doing it.
And Chase and Briscoe. 10-1. You know how dumb it feels to bet Briscoe and Almirola to pull it at 10-1 when I could bet Hamlin and Blaney at 9 and 9.5 respectively. Quarter unit, welcome to the card. And just to feel something, I'm gonna add 2 more. Just to feel something. And like
You're gonna add 2 more.
I wasn't gonna add any, Brian, but you did this. So when I lose 1 unit, I will let you know. Chastain put it on the poll at
oh my gosh
22, and Austin Cindric to put it on poll at 30.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have 4 pole bets?
Yeah, but a quarter unit on all of them, so it's only like 1 unit. And like after winning all that money on William Byron, like I need to give some of it back for sure. So I think I have 1 unit, 2 units, 2 3/4. I usually have like way more invested, so I don't even have 3 units invested this week.
Yeah,
just to let the fine people know. And you're at 2.5 as well. So we're basically like I have a quarter more unit than you.
Yeah, I think let's check out the matchups really fast and then give the people.
So Kyle Busch versus Chris Bell, I think that's probably priced right. Eric Jones, I like that side.
Mind you, these are qualifying right here.
Oh, interesting. Forgot about that. Bubba versus McDowell. McDowell at plus 120. You kind of liked him.
Yeah, Bubba's been fast though.
Yeah, that's true. Ty Gibbs over William Byron. Byron plus 100 against Gibbs in qualifying.
It's because Chevy came with long run, or Chevy came with handling cars in the spring. I think the top qualifying Chevy was like 10th.
Keselowski, yeah, it was all Ford. So Keselowski over Blaney plus money. So you look Briscoe over Harvick. Hamlin over Larson, that's probably fine. Truex plus 105 versus Joey Logano. Okay. Any of those qualifying bets tickle your fancy?
I like the Denny over Larson. I'm actually gonna bet that.
Let's see. I had it. Let's go back to October. Obviously, a little different. Toyota, Hendrick. So it is interesting. So like the top 10 starting position in the fall race, obviously this is 2022, so it's a little bit different with the car. But it was only 2 Fords in the top 10. Obviously the last time.
But remember, 2022 Ford sucked.
Yeah, that's true.
They completely changed their like aero package at these super speedways.
Yeah. Yeah, Gibbs was third in the spring race in the qualifying. Hamlin was
fast,
first.
man.
Truex was 7th. So there's 4 Toyotas in the top 10.
Gibbs just has to not F it up. That's all. Don't F up.
It's easier to finish one lap than it is. And with this, you don't even have to put it on pole. You just got to win. You just got to be in front of the guy that you're up against. So,
yeah.
All right, let's talk races. So, Bowman, Truex. I like Truex, but I'm not laying minus 120. Blaney, Busher, I want no part of that. I think they're both can be like that's betting who's going to get second and third. Bell, Harvick. Bell over Harvick for the race is really interesting.
I was just gonna say that seems
minus 120 for a guy that we really like versus a guy that we really didn't even talk about. Larson against Kyle Busch. I know a lot of people are going to be out on Larson, but if you like Larson, I think that's a really nice number. Byron over Elliott.
Larson over Busch?
Huh?
Ooh, man. Nope, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I'm not going to get
You have him on the card, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to get too nuts here.
I know, but that's a good bet for a guy that you already like. It's not like you're adding, Chase Briscoe, for example. Ty Gibbs, Eric Jones, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece. Ooh, I wish I could get a better number. Minus 135. Hocevar, minus 105 versus the Dinger.
I like that a lot.
And yet, I don't see you typing.
This hard to bet matchups. Dude, they can fucking wreck each other and they finish the same spot. I don't know. My luck, that's how it would be.
Now, your luck, they would wreck each other, and the guy that you faded is going to get one spot on the guy you liked. Yeah, there's really nothing. Let's go over here really quick. Matchups. All right. There was one I saw that I thought I wanted, but I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Logano, Keselowski, pretty even. Keselowski, Blaney minus 106 versus Kez is nice.
Yeah, but they're both like you're flipping a coin.
Wait, hold on.
What was the Bell Harvick number? Minus 120. I'm gonna bet that. I don't give a shit.
Was there a Kyle Busch race? Yeah, Kyle Larson. I was confused. Truex over Suarez is tempting. Bell over Busher plus 100.
That's a risky proposition.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like any of those. Anything jumping out to you?
No, like I said, I'm gonna add the Bell Harvick, and I think I'm finito.
Okay, let's recap the cards. If you guys have any of your favorite bets, please let us know down in the comments. If you've not hit subscribe, please consider doing that. It really does do a lot for us. Smash the thumbs up, do all the things. It takes you about 3 seconds, and it does a world of difference for us. So, Denny Hamlin 16-1, Austin Cindric 30-1, Martin Truex 30-1, all outrights, all a quarter unit. Austin Cindric top 4 at 12-1, Almirola top 4 to 8-1, Almer Pola at 10-1, Chase F and Briscoe at 10-1, Ross the Boss Chastain at 22-1, and Austin Cindric 30-1. Cindric, Chastain, Briscoe, and Almer Pola all to get it on the pole, all for a quarter unit, not going crazy, just having fun this week, trying not to give it all back. Brian Twining, Ryan Blaney 12-1. That's the one outright that I've not added that I feel like I should, but we'll see. Chris Bell 22, Kyle Larson 20, Bell to put it on pole, Gibbs to put it on pole, Hamlin over Larson in qualifying, and Chris Bell over Kevin Harvick at -120 is also really, really nice. Brian Twining, favorite bet going into the week for Talladega is what?
Christopher Bell 22-1 outright.
Wow, I like it. Put your big boy pants on and throw it on the card.
It's not my favorite. It's not my best bet by any means.
No. It's a super speedway. We're not going to officially best bet it, but favorite bet, favorite number as we sit here Wednesday evening. I like that call. I am also going with the Toyota, also going with an outright, and I'm going with Dennis Hamlin 16-1. The fall phenom is going to get it to victory lane. And I'm going to love every minute of it. So that is very exciting for us. Brian Twining, let's get it back to back after an amazing Texas week. It's obviously Talladega. Shit's going to get wild early. We'll probably regret all of our bets by, I don't know, midday during the race. But it'll be fun. We'll get some excitement. One step closer to the a round of 8. I cannot believe the season is already coming to an end. We got excited about the 500 seems like months ago or weeks ago, and now the season's almost over. We're gonna get ready for the 2024 500
and 2.5 weeks until Vegas, baby.
I can't believe it. For Brian Twining, I'm Kyle Robert. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time.